Welcome to Vintage SF. I'm Richard Rempel. Today I'd like to talk about a book my friend Jules Burt sent me. Mandrake by Susan Cooper. You can see here that it's a Penguin science fiction book. Now, how old would you guess this is? Perhaps the photo helps a little bit. This is from 1966. It is the only paperback printing of this book. It was a hardcover in 1964. It is the first novel of Susan Cooper. It's an adult science fiction novel. But Susan Cooper is better known for The Dark is Rising, a contemporary fantasy series set in England and Wales, which incorporates British mythology and Welsh folk heroes. So I'm presently reading this novel, and in this package that I received from Jules Burt, there are a few other things. And it made me start to think about things that I've received with books. Most of them are bookmarks, but there's other ephemera as well. Let's take a look first at what Jules Burt sent me. Here's a classic Pan Books look. Pick of paperbacks. And then on this side, Jules Burt, collections and unboxings. Very nice bookmark. And he has postcards. I actually got the same postcard from Stephen E. Andrews, but this one here is from Jules Burt. And you can even see that. What I love is he also has postcards that look at vintage books and put his information in there. So The Weird Shadow over YouTube by Jules Burt. And then we see some information and other stories of the supernatural. The Whisper in Darkness, The Outsider, The Festival, a Bart House mystery. Kind of cool. How about this one? The year's most original story of suspense, collections and unboxings. How did we ever survive YouTube without him? Jules Burt. Not a reprint on the bottom. So you take a vintage book and you insert some of your own message there in the title. Collections and unboxings. A new kind of YouTube experience by Jules Burt. Then we see it's a Valentine's book, and we also see the symbol and price from Valentine's there, a 35-cent Valentine book. And the last piece of ephemera that I got from Jules Burt was a business card. But this is a fantastic business card. It looks like a Penguin's classic, Jules Burt collection and unboxings. And it says on this door here, The Mob Museum, guys. And there he is leaning against the door. And then on the back he has his contact information. He's a collector and dealer in vintage paperbacks. As I said, this got me thinking about things that I've received in the mail or things that I've received in books that I've purchased, sometimes by eBay, but also from used bookstores. So I thought, I have a stack of these that I've been keeping in a bin near my desk here, and I thought I'd just go through these and see what stories or what things I can remember from them. The first one I'd like to show you is actually some postcards. I have a viewer from Toronto, Ontario, who sends me postcards every once in a while. His name is Bruce, and he uses these classic Penguin postcards of their book covers. So here's Alfred Bester, The Demolished Man. Last and First Men, Olaf Stapledon. And Ape Man Spaceman, edited by Leon E. Stover and Harry Harrison. So there's no order to the things that I've had in this bin here, so I'm just going to pull them up and see if I remember where this came from. This one was from my recent holiday, Friends of Pima Library, and this is with some of their sales for this year. This is where I'd purchased The Making of Planet of the Apes. That's the book right now without the dust cover. I'm reading through some of the stories in there. Here's one. Nifty Nate 2015 LLC. Always on the hunt for treasures. This I remember receiving in a purchase I made online, I believe at eBay. If I remember correctly, I purchased 900 Grandmothers by R.A. Lafferty from Nifty Nate 2015. It was in great condition. If you're listening, thank you, Nate. Let's see what we have next here. Bookends Bookshop. Let's see where we are here. This is from Syracuse, New York. I was there, I believe, in the beginning of June 2024, and I purchased a couple of omnibus book club editions of E. Doc Smith. So at Bookends Bookshop, I picked up Chronicles of the Lensman, Volume 1, Volume 2, and also The Complete Skylark. These are book club editions. This was a fabulous bookstore. It's in Detroit. John M. King. Probably one of the best stores, if not the best used bookstore I've ever been to. And that's a picture of their building. And they have a rare archives area in the building behind this building. If you're interested, it's in this book hall called The Old. Well worth visiting if you're in Detroit. Another place I've purchased the book, I can't remember which one, was from North Pole Vintage Company. This is in Kamloops, BC. What I really liked about this one, To Richard, from Santa, a great read. Hope you enjoy. I like that personal touch. Sci-Fire, the one-stop galactic bookshop. Countless worlds for you to explore, and there's an email address down there. I really like receiving bookmarks with books that I purchase. This one, I do remember what book I got from here. City Lights Bookshop. Defending Culture since 1975. That's a great slogan. And it's from London, Ontario, here in Canada. The book that I got from there was The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin. This is the first printing, the true first. It's an Ace special. Whenever I travel west of Winnipeg, I think about stopping at different bookstores along the way, and I found one in Brandon. George Strange's Bookmark. Western Manitoba's largest book mart. 3 floors, 10 rooms, over 40,000 books. That's in Brandon, Manitoba. When it comes to picking up some SF Masterworks, I often have to go to the UK. And one of the places that I've gone to is Kenny's, your online bookshop. This is located in Ireland. This next one here is from a business right here in Winnipeg, Book Fair on Portage Avenue. They deal with comics and graphic novels, but they also buy, sell, and trade quality used books, sports pins, keychains, NHL photos, banners, flags, and more. In June of 2024, I visited the Boston Public Library, and they have a place in the basement where they sell books, and the proceeds go to the library itself. This next bookstore is not a used bookstore, but it's a bookstore local to Winnipeg, McNally Robinson. I picked up this bookmark when I bought a book by Robert J. Sawyer and had him sign it at an event at McNally Robinson. He was promoting The Downloaded. To Richard, keep reading. Robert J. Sawyer. If you want to learn more about that event, you can go to this video. I'll have a link in the description. Here's another company from the UK where I've received some books. Better World Books. This next one is a bookmark from Half Priced Books. I believe it's a chain that started in Texas. Life is a treasure hunt. You just need to know where to look. And here's some information. take a look at the small print here. Looking for something specific? Ask a bibliomaniac to help. Not sure I would like to be called a bibliomaniac. Over a year ago, I went to Lincoln, Nebraska, and there is a marvelous bookstore there, and they have a couple pet cats who just roam the bookstore. It's called A Novel Idea. 2 floors of used, rare, and out-of-print books. This next one I remember visiting when I was in Texas a couple of years ago. It's a used bookstore packed with vintage paperbacks. Books, Inc. Your neighborhood bookstore. It was in the Crescent Center Shopping Center in Portland, Texas. Here's one from Canada, from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Westgate Books. Buying, selling, and exchanging scholarly, classic, and contemporary titles since 1972. I don't really remember where this one came from, but I love the name. It came from Beyond Pulp. Purveyor and publisher of fine science fiction, fantasy, and horror since 2018. And they have a website down here if you're interested. It came from beyondpulp.com. The last bookshop that I visited in my recent road trip was Fahrenheit Books in Denver, Colorado. What an amazing name for a bookshop. They had many science fiction hardcovers, and the back wall of the store was vintage SF paperbacks. And right across the street from Fahrenheit Books was Printed Page Bookshop. This store featured hard-to-find hardcovers and antique books. It was a wonderful bookstore, and the store had a mascot, a dog named Izzy who would meet you at the door. Here's another bookstore right from my province of Manitoba, just north of Winnipeg in Gimli, Lucky Stone Books. There's not a large science fiction selection there, but if you're looking for a book while you're out by the lake, this might be a great place to stop. Of course, the online bookstore that everybody knows about is Amazon. What I like about this one is the quote, "What is reading but silent conversation?" Recently I was in Phoenix, and a bookstore that has both used and new books is called Changing Hands. It's definitely geared more towards contemporary fiction, at least in science fiction. From the Netherlands, this was a bookstore in the tram station. On our recent road trip, we stopped in Helena, Montana. This is where Ira and his wife live. Ira has a YouTube channel called SF Words of Wonder, and his local bookstore was celebrating their 50th year. And Bonnie's Books, Helena's oldest and most charming bookstore. This was a great bookstore. If you're ever in Helena, you should drop by for a visit. And the last one I want to show you is Discover Your Next Read. Good reading guides, and at the bottom there you can see science fiction novels. That might look familiar to some of you. Well, it is from Stephen E. Andrews, and you can see he signed it there for me. Recently, we traded a few books, and he sent this bookmark signed. So those are a few things that came along with some of my books that I just had stashed away here. In the books themselves, there's some very interesting things that I've found as well. I found tickets to events or transportation. Sometimes there's a written note, as the book is a gift to somebody. Now, I've never found a book that is signed, and I've never found money in a book. But I'm curious, have you found signed books? Have you found money in books? What are some of the interesting ephemera you've found? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, keep those bookmarks and keep reading.